Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie and this channel is all about living abroad, moving abroad, coming back to America and moving abroad again. But yeah, so I definitely miss South Korea. Everybody that knows me knows that I am still taking Korean lessons. It is getting very difficult. I mean, there's literally like a particle for every other word. But I actually really love it. Like the one thing I said that I was going to challenge myself, this was when I was going to South Korea. Like, I was going to challenge myself in life. I was not going to give up on things when they got hard. And so it just so happened that I had, started learning Korean. And I did actually quit while I was there, the lessons. But then when I came home, I was like, listen, like I told myself I'm not quitting anything. And I want to be fluent in a language before I die. So I was like, hey, since I've already started Korean, and I like the fact that Korean is a challenge, is completely different from English. So I was like, hey, go big or go home, But yeah, so it's been great. I have a wonderful teacher, and I actually take 30-minute lessons, 30-minute lessons throughout the week. That didn't make sense. I take 30-minute lessons a week. Yeah, so I take one on Wednesday nights and then one on Sunday nights. So, yeah, it's good. And she wanted me to take an hour, and I was like, no. 30 minutes is like enough. My brain is like, oh. So other things that I do besides taking the lessons, I do Duolingo, which is good. It actually is some of the stuff with Duolingo, they're teaching me stuff that I haven't learned yet with her. So it's good. Like I think once I learn it with Artie, her name was Artie, it would just be a refresher. Because sometimes what I have to do is I have to ask her to give me the information first so I can look over it. So then when she teaches it, it's not difficult for me to digest. It's just easier for me to learn that way. In the moment, it's very hard. It takes a while for me to process stuff. So if I get the information first and then she teaches it, I'm like, okay, I got it. I can do it. And then after that, it becomes a lot easier. I would have to say that reading is much easier for me with the Korean. I can read much better. Speaking is seconds. Listening, oh my gosh. So on Duolingo, what I have to do is I do the slow button so that I can make sure that I'm getting the answers correct, the sentences, because I'm on to sentences now. But like when I'm listening to like a Korean movie or my teacher, she has to slow it down. So I need a lot of practice in all areas, but I definitely need a lot of practice in the listening. I definitely need some more practice with the writing. I think just kind of remembering it, but it's not as bad. But I do want to get fluent in Korean. I actually need to find like a Korean friend here, a Korean speaking friend here in the States, so I can practice. Someone who's willing to just like practice with me or just speak in Korean. Yeah, so it's no joke. It's no joke. And I think what I might do is I actually got this idea from this young lady whose stepdad is Korean. She has a really cool YouTube. And so her whole family has a YouTube channel. And the stepdad is Korean. And some of the children, are half Korean, half Black. But they speak Korean in the home. And she's really, well, they speak English and Korean. But she really wants to take on Korean. She wants to go to school in Korea for college. And she actually does Korean dramas, like she reenacts them. So that was a really cool way to practice her Korean. So I was like, well, maybe I might do something like that, put myself out there, be okay with sounding crazy, because I sound so totally illiterate. But the more that I speak, the more that I practice, that it'll be good for me. And maybe some of you all who speak Korean can, comment down below and say what I need to work on, or even like be willing to talk to me via Zoom or WhatsApp or something like that. That would be really cool. But yeah, it takes a lot of vulnerability to learn another language. And just be okay with sounding crazy, because I definitely do. Literally to the point where I feel like my Korean teacher is like, she's waiting for me to like finish the sentence, and I'm saying it so slowly, but it's like my mind still is doing the translation. So, I mean, my thing is like, I'm, however long it takes, like I just want to be really, really good in, or fluent, you know. And yeah, so I'm willing to be patient with myself. I also know that I need to put some more time into it. I was doing, I do the Duolingo every day, but I was, before work started, I was making sure I did my vocabulary, trying to like do some sentences. I need to get like really serious with studying. But I think I am going to do that. I think that I'm going to like do some words and sentences that I'm learning in Korean, and then maybe you all can see the progress of me learning and becoming fluent in Korean. It may take years, but hey, we got time, hopefully, prayerfully. Yeah, so my hat goes off to anyone who speaks a second language. Like, I mean, it did before. Like, I always thought, like, wow, that's incredible. But the fact that, like, I'm really putting in time to, like, learn another language, my hat goes off. And anyone who can move to another country, learn the language, learn the culture, and just get acclimated to everything, like, my hat goes off. It's incredible. And a lot of times people are rude, especially here, I think, in the States, are rude towards others who have like accents or who don't speak English that well. I'm like, this junk is hard even for a native teacher. Like, now that I teach English to Spanish speaking students, like sometimes like we have to do the grammar points. I'm like, ooh, I have to like brush up on stuff, because a lot of that stuff it doesn't make sense. Or there's always a but and if, like the rule, then there's like 4 other rules under that one rule. So it is extremely hard. So yeah, anyway, I've just really talked about just like my Hangul, which is Korean language, and I'm supposed to be talking about the things I miss about Korea. So I guess one of the things I miss about Korea is Korean. Yes, I actually really like the sound of Korean. I think it's so beautiful. It's like this, I don't know how to explain it. Like I don't know. It kind of sounds like a song the way they sing it. I know there's like a more elaborate way I could explain it, but I don't know. It's just beautiful to me. I'm very excited, very, very excited, because I have been committed, like I told you all in my other vlog, to learning Korean at a fluent level. And I also am committed to working on things that are going to strengthen my brain. So not only am I doing Korean, I'm also doing Spanish. Now, I learned Spanish in high school, so I know like very simple things, like very, very simple. But I want to learn Spanish fluently. There's no reason why I should not know Spanish fluently at this point in my life. And I also teach Spanish speakers, so it would be nice to be able to speak in Spanish to them when they're not understanding me in English. And so, yeah, so that I've been working on, actually the Spanish I just started 2 days ago doing the Duolingo. So I'm not going to get a Spanish teacher because that costs money. I'm going to just do the Duolingo and then study on my own. I feel like Spanish is a subject that's like would be easier for me to study on my own. And so, like I said, the goal is for me to be fluent before I die. So someone who speaks more than one language is a polyglot. I always say that wrong. Maybe I should learn English first. But anywho, so today I went and I got some index cards at the Dollar Tree. There are not that many in there, but for Spanish, and then some more for Korean. These are really good well, actually I use them for vocabulary and also sentence structure. So they work really well with helping me study, and you can take them anywhere you go. Like if you're waiting, someone waiting for an appointment, take out your cards and study. The one thing I actually really love I remember about 6th grade is my science teacher, Miss Kalar. She was the person that taught us how to use index cards, and I've been doing it ever since, like to learn things and memorize things and quiz my own self. Like I don't need a teacher to do it. I can just quiz myself. with putting the word on the front and then the definition on the back. Or you can do the sentence and do an answer to the sentence. Whatever way you want to do it, it works. Then what I do is I get color pens. I actually have been using my mom, so I decided to get my own. And for me, what I do is the questions. I put in one color, definition, like vocab, I put in another color, and then any like grammar points, like particles, I put in another color, just so I can practice like because in Korean, the particle is based on whether, what we would say in English as a verb or consonant. For them, it's called panchim or non-panchim. So I will be able to like have a word and then I can flip it over on the back and see if I was correct with the correct particle, right? So I like to have these color coded just in case I put them all together just for a quick study. And then I can also separate them very quickly by the color of the pen that I use. And I have 3. I actually really like regular notebooks, but notebooks are expensive. I went to CVS and I was like, no ma'am, no sir. So I am using a composition book. It does not have any divides in it, but I don't really need it. I don't need it to be divided. So I got these books. One is for my Duolingo Korean, right? So all the new vocabulary I've been working, sentence structure. I already have a notebook for my current Korean class with my teacher, so I didn't need a new one for that. This is actually for Spanish. I'm taking Spanish through the Harvard courses, free Harvard courses, and also Duolingo. So those 2 will be in this, and then I'm taking a Korean economic class, economy class. And it's just talking about the history of Korea and how they became very self-sufficient as far as financially, and also how they changed their infrastructure, and that helped with becoming a self-sufficient country. So I thought that, I don't know, I would just challenge my brain. So I also did or got a crossword puzzle. And so I've been really working on, like I said before, challenging my brain, working on not only words in Korean and in Spanish, but also in English, right? And with just growing my brain. So I'm going to be working on those. And like I said, I'm going to have these things with me when I'm waiting for an appointment or at work when I'm on my prep. And as a sub, I don't really have to prep too many things. See, I need to take English too. And so I'm just going to keep these with me. So I always have something to do for my brain. 안녕하세요. 저는 스테파니예요. 저는 미국 사람이에요. 저는 공부해요. 감사합니다. 안녕하세요.